This year has been rough, really rough.
Our industry has never seen anything like this before.
We miss our guests, we miss our co-workers.
We miss sharing our cocktails in person.
But nothing can break our spirit.
We are strong.
We are inspired.
We are united.
We are resilient.
Together, we are hospitality.
Now we have a unique opportunity.
Our passion will shape the new landscape.
Our hope will build a better future.
So let's raise a glass to our community.
Here is to us.
Here's to you.
Hi, welcome to How Diversity and Resilience Proved to be the Catalyst for the region's recovery here in the Middle East. My name is Rebecca Sturt, and I'll be your moderator for today's seminar. I'm currently the marketing manager for Remy Cointreau for Middle East and India, and I'm the owner of Dubai Bartenders Club. I'm also a member of the Tales of Cocktail Education Committee. I've been in the spirits and bar industry for over 25 years, with 14 of those residing here, based out in Dubai in the Middle East. Today, we have an expert panel from different areas of the hospitality industry with over 93 years experience and 39 years experience here in the Middle East. During this seminar, we'll be looking at the Middle East as a region through different perspectives, media, on-trade, and being a brand ambassador, both male and female, in this part of the world. We will cover the four main areas: diversity, being a catalyst, resilience, and recovery. We want to share with you the different challenges we face pre and post-COVID and how the Middle East is a destination to stand up and be counted. Let me introduce you to my expert panel. First, we have Varia Dellalian, the portfolio brand ambassador for Levant region and North Africa for Bacardi Martini. We have Jimmy Barrat, the global bar development director for the Zuma Group. We have Simon Ritchie, the editor of Cater Middle East, and Nana Sechere, the Beam Suntory portfolio ambassador for the Gulf region. We're going to start off today talking about diversity, a huge subject in the industry and one that is very unique here in the Middle East. I'm going to go to Nana first on this subject. Nana, can you explain how your role as ambassador works here versus other areas of the world, and how you overcome the challenges and help create diversity here in the Gulf region?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Rebecca, for having us all here. It's a really, really big pleasure to be here and talk about this amazing subject. But one thing that's for sure, people here still think our job is to party, drink, and eat until we develop that brand ambassador belly. But before I get into the role, I have to point out that we probably have the most diverse city in the entire world, because everyone here is an expat. And the city very much has a come as you are and stay as you are approach. I can literally have 5 different conversations in 5 separate groups and meet 15 different nationalities in the span of a day. So much of what we do here is the same as what the BAs I had back home would do, but the main difference is that we have to account for training and engaging people from an incredibly diverse set of backgrounds. So we still inspire through education and cool activations, but I think if anything, we also have way more world-class venues to work with, but a lot more teaching to do. So, before coming here, I hadn't seen a Zuma, Buddha Bar, or some of the hotels that are at the level of what we see in the city and around the region. But the brand ambassador here has to focus much more on the teaching and mentoring aspect because of how many new bartenders we receive in the country from so many diverse backgrounds. We get people from all over Africa, Asia, Europe, South America, and of course, North America too, but there's a higher proportion of people from the East and Central continents than anywhere else. So in so many of the more developed bar communities across the world, bartenders are self-taught, or they have the privilege of working under a great mentor who can guide them in their quest for knowledge. But this means that whenever an ambassador in the developed countries would show up, chances are that everyone has an understanding of the brand and the category. So all the ambassador has to do is just educate them on some more advanced knowledge that would kind of satisfy that inner bar geek. But most bartenders living in the Gulf, they'd love to learn more and become the best they can be, but there's definitely a gap in knowledge the brand ambassador has to fill. So there are hundreds of people working behind the stick and on the floor who may not have tasted certain spirits or heard of brands outside of the major global icons. So the conversations we have with some of the bartenders and servers here are kind of different than the ones I was having with the brand ambassadors back in my home country. So there are quite a few bartenders who have the same mindset that I did back then, but becoming the best they could be. But like I said, like there's just a large population of people who come from countries that don't place bartending on a high pedestal. So good thing is, as soon as they get ingrained in the bartending community here, with our regional competitions, master classes, and trade events, all of that changes so quickly because it's very, very infectious. And inclusion is a big part of what makes this city so unique. So we also do have to keep in mind that we are living in an Islamic country, a very westernized Islamic country, mind you, but still a country that follows all of the respective rules of the religion. So we can't promote alcohol on billboards or take out radio advertisements. All we can do is promote via social media and get as creative as possible with our activations, promotions, and wordings. So I think in a way, all of that has made us very creative in a sense and much more culturally sensitive. So when we create cool experiences when working in partnership with the restaurants and when we teach, it really, really adds a cool diversity aspect.
Amazing. And we turn over to Simon, who is our media kind of expert on our panel. Next, so Simon, from a media perspective, how does diversity work for you in terms of people and content? Because things have changed obviously over the years, and you have challenges that you face on a daily basis, pre and post COVID.
Absolutely, Rebecca. Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's great to get a chance to speak about the unique position that both the drinks industry and the media industry have in the Middle East, and Dubai in particular, from my perspective, and how they both intertwine with one another. But when it comes to diversity of the media here in Dubai, as you said, there's a couple of things to discuss, and that's the diversity of content and the diversity of people. As Nana mentioned, I think the first and most important thing to get across to people from outside of the region is that for legal reasons, we essentially cannot speak about alcohol in mainstream consumer publications or media at all. So when it comes to the diversity of the media, the choice for bars and bartenders is very minimal. And this is huge. For someone like me who grew up in the UK watching very innovative and groundbreaking drinks adverts from the likes of Guinness, Boddington's, etc., I always felt that it was alcohol companies that really pushed boundaries, and now over here it's a stark contrast. Unfortunately, the rules here mean no advertising of drinks brands and no discussion of even specific alcohol types in consumer magazines. This puts everybody in a very tough position. While there are ways around it slightly in terms of you can call beer hops, you call wine grape, you call gin the juniper paste drink. The fact is it severely limits what you can write about, as you can't get into specifics and you can't really discuss the nitty-gritty of the industry the way that we would really like to. And this obviously, as Nana's mentioned, has a huge effect on what brands can do to promote themselves. They just don't have the opportunity that they have elsewhere. And this massively affects the diversity of content here and puts us in a weaker position than in other markets around the world. Fortunately, my magazine, Caterer Middle East, is in the position of being a trade magazine, which means we are allowed to speak about alcohol. But the fact is there are no alcohol-specific magazines, certainly here in the UAE. And so Caterer Middle East is attempting to step up and bring alcohol into the fold and do the best we can to promote the region's bar scene. But we're starting with a bit of a deficit, and it's a much harder position than it would be to do anywhere else in the world. But Dubai is a young cosmopolitan city, and that feeds into the second part, diversity of people. It is such a melting pot, again, as Nana slightly mentioned there in terms of the amount of people. and from all over the world that you meet. In the last issue of the magazine, we ran a feature on 3 separate cocktails from 3 different bartenders, and there was one from Serbia, one from India, one from the Philippines. And what the amazing thing for me is that I see them feature in my magazine, and then they share that content on Instagram. That means not only is the bartending community here getting to see it, but so is the bartending community in those 3 countries. And that changes every issue. We can literally have 3 bartenders featured in the magazine be from different continents. It's fantastic to see. And the diversity here is truly outstanding. And we can see in the media from the response we get when we feature these bartenders that it's inspiring people who perhaps thought that they wouldn't get that chance, and letting them know that the possibility for success and for to be an inspiration to other people was there, and that they can achieve things they never thought possible, which is absolutely fantastic, as I'm sure you see, Rebecca, through the Dubai Bartenders Club.
Yeah, no, that's yeah, totally. And now going to Jimmy. Jimmy, you've been working in the region for a long time. You run the most successful bar in the UAE. Zuma is a global company. How do you handle diversity and inclusion within your bars?
Well, diversity, I think, you know, taking the UAE, it's a unique scenario. I think it's the only place in the world where expat, immigrant, whatever you want to call, represent 85% of the population. You know, locals are only 15%. Therefore, you need to have a labor force, a workforce, a talent force that's coming from outside. That talent force, it's obviously extremely diverse, coming from all over the world. Just within Zuma, you know, we can count 48 different nationality. I don't think that it exists elsewhere. You know, that 48 different nationality offer you a panel of palette, of creativity, of different background, of inspiration that we use to create, you know. It's a true melting pot that is exceptional in a sense.
Amazing. Yeah, we're sitting here currently in Zuma right now. So we're very lucky to be in the same building as each other. I can turn to my right and see Jimmy. Going on to Varia next. Varia, being a female ambassador across a very, very diverse region of the Middle East, the Levant region. Do you want to explain what areas you cover and what being a female ambassador is like, and how diversity is handled in your region?
Thank you, Rebecca, first for having me on this session. And of course, before I talk about my challenges as an ambassador, first of all, I cover the Levant region, which has Levant and North Africa. Levant, which is Lebanon, Jordan, Iraq, Syria, Turkey currently joined our markets, and North Africa, which is Egypt, Morocco. Mainly I go to these markets so far. But before I talk about my challenges as an ambassador or diversity as an ambassador, I would like to talk about my journey as a bartender, because that was the most challenging one at the beginning. So being a female bartender in the Middle East was one of the biggest challenges. It was even more surprising for people outside of the Middle East to see female bartenders from this region. Even when I was representing Lebanon in one of the prestigious competitions, one of the judges told me, like, and look at me surprised, like, a female bartender from the Middle East, it's like, you know, it's like, that's a no, or they never expect that someone, a female from the Middle East will be working in this industry. Since I started working in the industry till today, many things have changed. Consumers' perception about female bartenders in the Middle East has changed. And the most challenging one was for your fellow colleagues to accept you, as most of the time they used to think that only a man can carry a box of soft drinks. So this one was my first challenge. Now, as an ambassador in the Middle East, especially the regions that I cover, I had the opportunity to inspire men and women in our industry. But working in a man-dominating region, going to sessions with all these men looking at me like, what is this little girl doing here? And how they changed their perception after the session, it was really like a game changer for me. we only have few people supporting and pushing their teams in our region, such as Jimmy, Walid in Lebanon, and Jad Balout, and many other inspiring people who are pushing their teams. But I consider myself or one of my main duties in my region is to reach out and support and help anyone who is eager to learn, because I think I have the opportunity to help these people. We also, as Dana said, that we expats usually in Dubai. You have a lot of expats in Lebanon also. We have a lot of expats, and not to forget that the Middle East is also very much driven with religions. So each country has its own set of rules and regulations, and to be able to find the common ground is a challenge by itself. So you can imagine, or maybe you can't imagine if you're not working in this region, what are the challenges that we face. But this is the beauty of our region.
Amazing, amazing. Okay, cool. We're going to go on to kind of the next topic now, catalyst. You know, living in the Middle East for a long time, between us all, we all think, and we've kind of discussed this, that we do think the Middle East is a catalyst for development of bartenders within the region, which will then go on elsewhere and be successful in their own right, in their own countries. We believe that Dubai and Lebanon, as an example, are one of the two major catalysts for those regions, with bars and the people that come and go, the nightlife scene. You know, these places are key. And I think that those people that have never visited the Middle East, or Lebanon or Dubai especially, would never understand how much we you know, what we're trying to say is that we are a catalyst here in this region. I think one of the main points first, I think, is to go to the media. So I think, Simon, you've been based in Dubai for 2 years now. How do you see Dubai mainly, but also the region, to be a catalyst in the media world?
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, to be completely honest, I think now we're undergoing a real moment of change for the media and for the drinks industry in the region, and one which I believe can be a catalyst for real change and hopefully inspire the next generation of bartenders that come through Dubai and the wider Middle East. For me in the media, it's been fantastic to look at the industry each month and see it growing, and more importantly, to see a real community growing around it. I don't think you can underestimate the importance of an organisation like yours, Rebecca, the Dubai Bartenders Club, which really helps to spread the word of the industry here in the region. You know, speaking personally, I've implemented a new alcohol-only section into the magazine, and having the Dubai Bartenders Club so reachable and accessible and so full of knowledge on drinks, specifically in the region, but with a wider knowledge that's been brought from all over the world. It's just a fantastic resource for me and for anyone in the media to get fresh content. So yeah, you know, we hope this will be a catalyst to bring in the next generation of talent into the public eye through our magazine, through social media, as everyone else has spoken about. Loads of different ways that we can get that out there, not just in Dubai, but around the region and around the world. So, although Dubai is such a small city in many ways, it has a huge number of bars. I think we saw recently there's something around 1,900 licensed premises. In a very small city, per capita, it has to be up there with any big city in the world. And thanks to people like Jimmy leading the way, the talent is definitely here in a way that maybe people wouldn't expect. Now, I mentioned Jimmy there as being an inspiration to me, but to me, the people that I engage with the most, and I really see the hard work they are doing to bring on the industry in the Middle East, are ambassadors like Nana. You know, I won't big them up too much, but you know, so dedicated, so smart, so hardworking, so talented. You know, I've been lucky enough to work with Nana and some of the other brand ambassadors here in the region for some of the content that we produce. And honestly, I wish we could do more. It's these guys and girls like Varia in Lebanon who are going to bring on the next generation, ensure that Dubai and the rest of the region always had a steady flow of talent from around the world. They can be a true catalyst for improvement in the region. I am 100% certain on that. I mean, I think we've already seen tremendous growth in the past 10 years. Although I've only been here for 2 years, I look back at old caterer magazines from years ago and see names like Jimmy talking about a need for more talent on the scene here. but I'm sure if you ask him now, he'll tell you that we rank up there with the best in the world. To me, this is proof of change in action and proof of a Middle East bar scene that is buzzing and ready to keep creating fresh and exciting talent. And we hope to document as much of it as we can.
Amazing, thank you, Simon. Nana, you've seen some crazy changes since you arrived 4 years ago in Dubai. How do you believe we are a catalyst for change? How do you see your work as an ambassador affect others, and in return, how they then develop others after that?
Well, I mean, like I mentioned before, back home, for the most part, we were self-taught. So some people may have taken a bartending course in college or a hospitality management course, but most of us learned the most while we were in the trenches. And I think that's pretty much the case in every country around the world. But when I got here 4 years ago, I was working for a restaurant called West Lodge, and we had just opened. And my friend and bar manager, Isaac, shout out to Isaac Feiner, my brother. He was busy that day setting up a few things, but he had been invited to a training session at a bar school here called Path. So he asked me to go instead, and I remember saying, wow, bar school? Okay, cool, interesting. So I got there, and there were 5 other bartenders with the trainer, and the subject was for a whiskey brand and a chocolate pairing. So basically the trainer had partnered up with a local woman who made this delicious chocolate, and she had created this unique and bespoke chocolate for each of the expressions in the whiskey range, which was awesome. So this was supposed to be an activation that he launched, and we were supposed to duplicate it in our bars, but this wasn't just your standard training. He took us through the brand education, then he had us partner up and do a role play to show how we would sell this activation to a consumer, but he videotaped it so we could watch ourselves and everyone could provide feedback. So, you know, like at home, I was a part of some great training sessions from BAs, but nothing was like this. As soon as I went through this, I was basically hooked and realized that there were higher levels to what I could learn living here. So after that training, I found out there was another bar school in the city as well called the MMI Bar Academy. And that was created by this lady named Rebecca Sturt. I don't know, you might know who she is, but basically there is a lot of educational engagement on social media through the respective pages of the bar schools and the Dubai Bartender Club, which has nearly 7,000 members, which is crazy for a Facebook page. And on that page, we host competitions, announce key events in the trade, sports clubs, master classes, and we use it as a way to keep the industry united. So we realize the importance of keeping the trade together through knowledge, and I think it's really benefited our industry tremendously. You know, in Canada, when I was living there, at one point I asked myself why there weren't any independent bar schools, which I'm sure it's changed now, but in Dubai, there were 2 that provided such good training that you might see only at places like Tales of the Cocktail or some of the other big industry trade events around the world. So all the current and past bar trainers and brand ambassadors, they've inspired passion, they've been an inspiration to me and a lot of the people in this city, and really set a high bar for everything that we want to do here. And the other thing to note is that since we're in the middle of the world, Middle East, we have access to some of the best our industry has to offer. So we can fly in global BAs, master distillers, and all these world-class bartenders for guest shifts at the big name restaurants here. And we're able to run such amazing activations and masterclasses in world-class venues. So, I mean, I have to say, when I got here, I had good knowledge, really passionate bartender, et cetera, but, you know, I can't discount what I knew back then. But what I've learned since moving here is immeasurable. You know, one thing to keep in mind is that many of us arrive here from our home countries. Some people have like very little knowledge compared to what we can receive back home. But when we get here, we just earn such a large amount of knowledge in such a few short years. So we come here to Dubai to level up. And when we level up, we can return home, set up our own bar schools, restaurants, and all these hospitality initiatives with the knowledge we've gained here. So I see Dubai and the UAE as being a true catalyst in the sense that because it has a residual effect on the surrounding countries. It's really, really, truly the catalyst in every sense of the word.
Okay, thank you, Nana, for that. Going on to Jimmy, you've been inspiring bartenders for many years. Many have gone on to great success. I believe Zuma has been a catalyst for this region since it opened its doors. How do you see it from the inside, being a leader and a catalyst for changing the way bars operate in the region? How do you educate and inspire others? Because people have been trying to copy Zuma for many, many years, and any bar that has come into Dubai and tried to go against Zuma has generally failed, because Zuma is very, very unique in this region. So how is it from your side, Jimmy?
I wouldn't say copy, you know, it's, I think, inspire. And if you inspire or anybody is trying to do what you do, then it's some sort of success. I think, first of all, the strength of the Middle East is within his name. It's in the middle, you know. So everything is like 6-7 hours away from us, except the US that are very far. But all the rest is quite reachable and quite fast. Historically, they've always been trading, you know, trading spices with the rest of the world. Geographically, that position, it's extremely strong. It's the way the country have based their economy to come, to stay on the 2-3 days layover and to move away. Why has been a catalyst? It's first of all, I arrived here 12 years ago, 13, no, exactly. Standards were not the same that we see today. And again, and I'm going to say it, it doesn't take one place to create an industry, but it needs to have many. And that's what we see now in Dubai. The standard in drinks making, it's actually quite high. 12 years ago, 13 years ago, he followed the same standard than elsewhere. Second golden age of bartending, late 90s, beginning of 2000, London, New York were dominating that place. What people did, you know, French bartenders were learning their skill in London. Australian bartenders were learning their skill in New York. They went back to Australia, open bar, create boom. French bartender from London went back to Paris and create bar like Experimental Cocktail Club, you know, and Paris now is a scene where you see great cocktail. That we arrived here 13 years ago, came with London standard that we learned in one of the major capital of cocktail making, implemented here and inspired other. More important, we inspire consumer. You know, Dubai owe its nightlife to the Lebanese community. Indirectly, you know, they were drinking differently in a place like the Zuma or the others. Came back, you know, in holiday in Lebanon, were expecting those same standard. And actually, Lebanon, you know, with Jad, we started at the same time to kind of raising the bar. Nowadays, you have a workforce of certain passport that obviously it's hard for them to access Europe. Filipino, Indian, Pakistani, you know, that are here, that work, that learn a craft, go back home, you know, and create good bars. You have exceptional bar in Philippines. You have incredible bar in India, you know, in Mumbai, you know, and I deeply believe that the Middle East and Dubai have been a catalyst for that.
Amazing. Yeah, thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, I think when you come and visit, anyone that comes and visits Dubai or the Middle East, and Dubai, I mean, as well as other areas of the Middle East as well, we all learn and we all take things away from us. I mean, it might be from a tourist point of view. They come over, they might take, you know, this particular thing away with them that reminds them back of Dubai. For us as bartenders, we learn and we take all ingredients that we've learned from different nationalities, you know, and we've taken those ingredients and created great drinks, because we have access to that information, you know, how they make things at home, how they made things back in their own countries, and they bring that with them to Dubai. And I think that's helped build internally as well, the different knowledge of bartenders. Okay, so Varia, you have faced so much in your time as ambassador. Beirut changes daily and has many struggles, but somehow it continues to be a leader in creating iconic venues, development of trainings, and also whilst facing political and religious challenges. Obviously, we've had what we've had in the last couple of weeks happen in Beirut, but I'd love to hear from your side how it was pre-blast and how it will go from now for you.
So Rebecca, I will split this part to three main parts. I will start first by talking about the community. So the bar community in Lebanon was not existing like 10 years or 15 years ago. There were many generations of bartenders who were like pushing for classic cocktails, and they were very good. But that changed, and I can say the past 5-6 years, Lebanon and Dubai, I can say for Dubai also, has been walking with the trend, with the global trends actually. Whereas before that, I remember that Lebanon maybe was a follower or maybe was just like a little bit behind. But I feel now with social media and the connections and how bartenders are communicating with each other, creating this big community in the region or outside the region also, it changed the way that bartenders in our region looked into the industry, and now they can quickly like improve and change and be on trend with the other countries or the leading countries like London, New York. So we created a Lebanon Bartenders Club group inspired from Dubai Bartenders Club because we need a community for the Lebanese bartenders. Not only bartenders, waiters, and people who work in the industry. The main purpose of this group is to reach as many bartenders and industry people as we can in Lebanon, trying to help them find jobs, update them on news, trends, competitions, or share educational stuff about our industry. And if you go now to Lebanon Bartenders Club, you can see how many free education platforms have been created there, and I can take only one person for that, which is Patsy Christie. I think you know her. She's been doing an incredible job for the community. Our main challenges, my main challenge in the industry was more linguistic. Although I said that I work in the Middle East and I work with many countries that most of them speak Arabic, but the Arabic that we speak in Lebanon is slightly different than the Arabic that we speak in Iraq, Jordan, Algeria, or Morocco. Also, many of my sessions, I might have like Arabic speaking staff. At the same time, I might have English speaking staff. And none of them understands the opposite language. So imagine the translating for each part of the session. It is really challenging, but well, this is how we learn, right? Regarding Lebanon, the third part of this question is how Lebanon was influencing and how Lebanon was helping the region grow. I can say Beirut was considered as the Paris of the Middle East before everything happened to destroy this beautiful city. But we were rebuilt as we always do. The reason it was considered as one of the best destinations is its hospitality, food, and nightlife. I think most of you have been in Lebanon and you know what I mean by that. Many Lebanese bars, managers, bartenders, waiters, or people who work in the hospitality industry have moved from Lebanon to around other countries in the Middle East and influenced those countries' nightlives. As Jimmy said, like Zuma is one of the best bars, I consider is one of the best bars, not only in our region, but also globally, because I think they work as an army. Like you see the way that they work is like, I've never seen any team work as Zuma's team is working, and how like they are bonded together. So also, like I can say that Lebanon has inspired Dubai with its nightlife. For example, Momos. I used to work at Momos. Momos closed in Lebanon, but they opened in Dubai as a non-alcoholic if I'm not mistaken. White, Sky Bar, one of the best clubs in the world, Iris Dubai. So I consider Lebanon inspiring the region also with its hospitality by exporting talents to around the region.
Amazing. Thank you, Varia. Okay, going on to kind of second part, going to go on to resilience. The Middle East has faced its challenges over the years. It's documented sometimes incorrectly in the global press. Being here on the ground and living in the region, we see it from a very, very different perspective. The hospitality sector is unique in the way it operates, and we adapt and change daily to rules and regulations. Here in Dubai, we have licensing laws that are very different from other areas of the Middle East, but we have learned to be resilient and to adapt where needed. And we can change at a flick of a switch. And I'm sure that we're all used to it here in Dubai with things happening in late notice, and we have to just deal with it. Barry, I think we should come to you first on this one. With the last couple of weeks, obviously you faced probably the biggest challenge of your life. This conversation probably wouldn't be happening if you were in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, we were on the phone a few hours before, you know, testing these Zoom calls out, and you know, and then obviously what happened in Beirut. I'm just glad that you're actually on here, you're safe, and you're well, and you're willing to speak on here. And so let me come to you for, you know, resilience in Beirut as a whole and your region.
Well, thank you, Rebecca. Yes, it was really horrible what happened a few weeks back. Like very tragic, the people, what happened. But to be honest, Rebecca, I will talk about that in the recovery. I will talk about the COVID-19 now. And I would just like to mention that COVID-19 for Lebanon was just the cherry on top. So imagine we were saying, okay, now what will happen? And sadly, the bad news happened a few weeks ago when the explosion happened. But Lebanon has been in crisis for a very long time, since October 2019. During this period, I believe brands and brand ambassadors supported the industry in many ways. Some financially, for example, at Bacardi, we launched hashtag Raise Your Spirits, by which we gave away food vouchers, meals across Lebanon. And of course, like during COVID-19 in Dubai as well. Some others were helping the industry mentally by giving sessions and master classes about how to keep moving even though we are in lockdown. And some by converting the brand classes or master classes to digital master classes on Zoom, open to not only one bar or one country, but to everyone who would like to join from around the world and learn. Because now is the best time to do things you wished you would do. And finally, you have the time to do, you have the time for it. And I had bartenders joining my sessions from 42 countries. And surprisingly, a lot of consumers also registered to attend those sessions and were interested in learning about spirits history and production. So you see how COVID-19, although it was negative and at the beginning, but you come to realize that things will change and things will not be the same before COVID-19 and after COVID-19. So this is from my point.
Amazing. Simon, you have faced your first major challenge since you arrived in Dubai. When COVID hit, you had many obstacles to tackle, team changes, content, sponsorship issues. How has this affected you, and how have you overcome the challenges, and how has this affected how you work with the bar industry?
Well, yeah, Rebecca, as you said, there's no hiding from the fact that things right now are extremely tough across all industries and across all countries. Obviously, as Varia has just mentioned, what's happening in Lebanon is on a completely different level. But you know, as we speak here in Dubai, nightclubs are still shut. Bars are operating under tougher restrictions due to social distancing, etc. Meanwhile, for us in the media, we're struggling just to find advertisers to pay the bills. We've had massive job cuts and job losses, just as it's very similar to what the hospitality industry has seen. But I do believe that out of adversity is where we can find the best solutions. And from my side, I'm already seeing significantly more engagement from the big boys in the UAE's alcohol scene than ever before. I think COVID has really highlighted our resilience, and it's been the event that has made the alcohol duopoly over here realise that we all need each other and that we can work hand in hand. I should maybe explain for those who aren't aware, the UAE is fairly unique in having all alcohol sales in the country controlled by just two suppliers, MMI and A&E. And every consumer who wants to buy alcohol in the country needs to have a specific license. It's a very unusual way of working, and it makes things quite difficult when you don't really have the same level of competition that you have in most other developed countries. But as you said, no, this is about resilience, and I'd like to highlight some of the ways that the industry here has come together to support one another and get through what has been a very tough time. We've seen our two drink suppliers work together for the first time on a legal home delivery alcohol service, something that Dubai was crying out for. And they actually engaged with the media to promote that. In fact, it was the most read story on the caterer website for the month that it happened. So the demand for it was there, consumers really wanted it, and thanks to, or through the adversity of the coronavirus, it forced our hand, and it's proven to be an absolute winner of an idea. And while the hard-working people of the industry have been struggling with redundancies and a lot of unpaid leave due to COVID, we saw MMI support our local bartenders with the help of Pernod Ricard, Tito's and others, again with vouchers for them to get food supplies. For the first time, the industry really came together to help one another and showcase that resilience that will see us through these tough times. We've just seen A&E run a campaign that means if you buy beers from one of their retail shops, you get given tokens that you can take to over 100 bars throughout the UAE and swap them for an actual pint. So here we have the retail side supporting the bar side. Again, fantastic to see and a real step forward, I think. And again, it's something that they engaged with us in the media on that promotion, something that hadn't really happened before 2 years prior that I've been here. All these aspects are being covered in depth by caterers. We really try and do as much as we can to support the industry through this tough time and highlight what the Middle East bars can do to get through this period. Because the fact is, despite all the troubles, I have no doubt that the industry will come out stronger. I'm sure you agree, Rebecca.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's been interesting to watch the two suppliers work together to create the legal home delivery. It confused a lot of people at first. Because it's very we can get everything delivered here in Dubai at a split second, no matter what it is. But alcohol was always the one that was never be able to be delivered. So let's see if that continues. Hopefully it will. Nana, you had to make some quick changes as an ambassador, with Dubai being thrown into lockdown very early with very strict government rules, which I would like to say helped our city. I think, helps us getting on the road to recovery a lot quicker. As an ambassador who relies on visiting the trade, delivering trainings, how did you adapt and pivot to survive lockdown and show resilience to the situation? Maybe you can explain also, the kind of restrictions that we had in place for those that may not know as well.
Okay, well, I think I'll talk about the restrictions because I do have to say the city, the country, I am actually very happy with how they handled the COVID-19 situation because their priority was just making sure that everyone was safe. And they wanted to make sure that we, anything, were able to minimize the effects of the virus as quickly as possible. So we started off with curfew at about 8 p.m. that lasted till 6 a.m. They had all these disinfections happening where they had drones flying throughout the city and just spraying things down with sanitizer. And then it went from 8 p.m. till 6 a.m. to a full 24-hour lockdown. And then they had an app where you had to request to be able to go out and get different things, to go to grocery stores, to go to the hospital, to go to the pharmacy, whatever it may have been. So there were some pretty strong restrictions, but I think that they were necessary to be able to get us into a spot where we were able to come back in some semblance. But from the ambassador side, at this stage, I think we can all say that digital, because I mean, right now we're all on a digital platform, it's become huge for what we do. And, as some restaurants remain closed currently, one of the things that really helped us get through the lockdown period was the fact that we could all connect on the digital platforms. Honestly, I can't even count how many Zoom sessions I attended personally. And thankfully, I was still working a full schedule. But, when the lockdown in Dubai happened, I remember talking to some friends back home, and the Western world hadn't quite caught up. So I remember getting messages from friends of mine back in Canada saying, what's the big deal about this whole COVID thing? And I remember just saying, bro, just, chill. Don't take it lightly. It's, just get ready. And that happened on a lot of occasions. But I even think a lot of places here weren't really anticipating how much you would all be affected. And to be honest, it's fair. I mean, if any of us knew, if I knew, I would have put like 1,000 USD on Zoom and 1,000 USD on Netflix, and then booked a flight to an island and just chilled there and just let my money come in. But such is not the case. I'm not a psychic. But summer before lockdown happened, I remember bringing up the idea to my team of boosting our social media with high quality videos and coming up with a big content strategy and executing them on a regular basis. But, last summer, digital just wasn't wired into our industry. Our industry is so much about the personal touch, about the face-to-face, about visiting venues, about doing master classes in person with big groups. But I think, obviously, we didn't really realize that would just be taken away. So the way I pivoted, my team and I, right before lockdown, we began that project that I had proposed the summer before. And we produced some video masterclasses in a very, very quick turnaround time right before lockdown went into full effect. So when that happened, we had one kind of idea, we just need to have something out there. But when we saw the effect and just how powerful everything was going to be, we realized that we needed to use the masterclass as an opportunity to help people, right? Because this was going to be a longer situation than anyone really realized. So we provided gift bags, grocery vouchers back to the trade, and we just donated to other causes around the city. But we weren't the only ones, obviously. I'm so happy with everything that everyone had been doing. The Dubai Bartenders Club created a talent competition and allowed bartenders to showcase their hidden talents, whether it was guitar, whether it was singing, whether it was flaring, whatever it may be. And it gave them a chance to win some prizes and get their mind off things. And spoiler alert, everyone got something. So it was a very, very amazing idea from Rebecca. And, some of the other key people in our trade really helped out with that as well. And restaurants are teaming up with brands to deliver groceries and meals to members of the trade. There are great charitable initiatives done by the BAs from Remy Martin. Bacardi was fantastic, Pernod, so many other people. And not to mention just regular people donating and volunteering their time, money, and energy to so many different causes around the city. The Bar Academy and MMI, wow, they, at one point, they really engaged with the trade. They had so many online quizzes, giveaways, masterclasses from amazing industry heavyweights, whether it was a master distiller, whether it was just someone really, really influential in the industry. They were doing masterclasses and contributing their knowledge and time. A major thing was just, we wanted to make sure that we kept the energy and spirits high across the community. I was personally giving a lot of my time and energy, and I know every single person on this panel was also giving so much of themselves during that time period. Varia, I know, Varia is a legend. If you don't know, now you know. In her city, she was taking care of so many people, as were so many of her other compatriots in Lebanon. And Simon, you guys in the media, you guys are keeping us informed, but at the same time, it's not just our industry that was receiving a lot of turmoil. The media industry was also receiving that, but they were keeping such a high standard of excellence as well. So at the end of the day, I think we just all recognize the need to give back in charitable ways and keep our minds occupied, because being locked in your apartment isn't easy, especially when we're used to engaging with people all the time and just being out. So we just did our best to keep mouths fed, hearts and minds full at the end of the day. And I have to say how proud I am of not only the people on this panel, but a lot of my friends and people I consider family here in our industry during this whole tough time.
Amazing. Jimmy, you've been running one of the busiest bars in the region. When COVID hit, must have been crazy. What you can and cannot do, dealing with the staff, the uncertainties. You also had the safety and well-being of your team. Lots of questions. How did you deal with this? And how is it all going?
Yeah, but obviously was a hell of a challenge. Luckily, we are connected with 16. We have 16 restaurants globally, so we were connected with some part of the world, especially with having Zuma in Hong Kong that was hit it first. So that gave us some hint. We reacted extremely fast. The only difference that you have with Dubai is when there is no, you don't pay tax when there is no income. You have a lot of employees. You cannot rely on the government because that's not the way that part of the world works. So we swap and switch within 24 hours in food delivery, rather than going with a third person or a company like the Deliveroo's or the Uber Eats. We decided to do it ourselves. It was not to save money whatsoever, but to kind of first to have a project, to keep ourselves busy and to keep partially a part of the team busy. So we rented car. I turned into a driver for about a month and a half. So that was my job, 5 shifts, driving and delivering food with a colleague, and yes, that's how we kept ourselves busy for the sanity of mind. But we saw some amazing things, bonding, being close to the team and also extremely close to our guests. You can imagine how surprised some of our regular that supported our business by ordering food, to see the global bar development director, some of the manager, coming and delivering food at home, having that connection with the guests. That was something that we were really seeking, and it actually worked. Of course, the challenge of not being able to deliver alcohol, so the cocktail and etc. So we came with an add-on cocktail, try to bring an experience, a journey at home, and having those drink made non-alcoholic, and we were guiding and giving recipe to explain them. You just have to add alcohol. So we gave virgin, espresso martini. We just add vodka if you have some at home, gin and tonic. They were coming with ice and the right tonic, all the little bag, and just make yourself the same gin tonic that you would have in a bar, but just add the gin, and so on and so on. So yeah, we always come with creative way of bypassing, not being outlaw, but just trying to be smart about it.
Yeah, no, that's some of the initiatives that you guys did were unbelievable.
Yeah, we had girls, again, talent to keep the staff busy. We had each some of the reception girl are extremely talented, and each and single bag that was holding the food and delivered was actually hand painted by the staff. Again, killing bird with 2 stones. You keep people busy, for the sanity. They come to work. We were eating together, so you keep that momentum. You keep that thing. That times are rough. It's trouble. It's difficult, but at least you are busy, working in the same goal, the same for a better future.
All right. Okay, moving on to the last bit of the seminar, which is the recovery. So far, we've covered diversity, being a catalyst, and how we are resilient here in the region. So what's next? How do we build? How do we recover from COVID? what, in your opinion, guys, does recovery look like? What's next for us? Simon, let's start with you. I know you've been working on many projects to help build the industry.
Yeah, well, said I think as the other guys, who are proper in the industry will tell you, the recovery is certainly well underway. And from the media side, it's about us finding the right stories to tell, to showcase what these guys are doing. But it's been great to see the different ways that bars in the region are trying to move forward and find new ways to bring in revenue. As Jimmy said there, they're bringing in the mocktails so they could do home delivery. It's also a very smart idea for this region where you have a large population who can't drink alcohol for certain reasons. So I definitely think that's something that we can move forward and make that we can be an industry leader on in this region. But for me, I want to try and treat the bar industry the same way we treat the restaurant industry here in Dubai. I can't count the number of Michelin-starred chefs such as Nobu, Massimo Bottura, Gordon Ramsay, Jason Atherton, who all have outlets here in Dubai. And I think there's an opportunity for the big names in bartending world to also be involved here in Dubai. Zuma has led the way on that front with bringing in world-class bartenders for guest shifts, and with Dubai being a kind of hub for layovers, as Nana mentioned earlier, with it being right in the centre of the world. I think there's a really great potential for us to be known as a real bartending hub. I don't think it will be too long before some of the world's best bar owners start operating venues here in Dubai. And I think it will have the same effect that the Michelin-starred chefs coming here has had. It will bring more talent to the region, and it will inspire the talent that's already here, which has to be a positive. But from a personal perspective, I just love to see a more cohesive Middle East hub for the bar industry as a whole. With amazing talents like Varia in Lebanon, Nana and Jimmy here in Dubai. I'd love to see a cross-region community. I think it's within our sights, and with technology like Zoom coming to the fore, we don't even need to travel to build these relationships. So I think there's a great opportunity for that. To me, it's a thrilling time to be part of the industry here. The more innovations being shown by Jimmy, Nana, Varia, and everyone else, the more I'll have to write about, and the more we can share with the rest of the world, and hopefully find our place in the global industry as one of the leaders.
Thanks, Simon. Jimmy, coming to you before we finish off. Jimmy, your bar and restaurant is open now. You've made a lot of changes. Where do you go from here? What does the new normal look like? How are you going to recover and continue the development of Zuma and your team?
Yeah, obviously times are challenging, we don't have a bar as a bar itself, so we can cater people with some restriction like everybody else. So the future, we don't know. I cannot read what's gonna come, but I think that the way the UAE has reacted, the way they have blocked, I hope that they'll position themselves very fast, which I believe into a safe place to travel and to see some tourism within next year. But I don't think that, I think we will be in that type of scenario and until December, to be honest. I'm a natural born optimistic, but I don't see it moving faster than that. But there is some good things that come, like we have done online guest bartending with the team of El Copita, that have initiated that. I think it's incredible. The way we have been close with the community using the technology, it's also incredible. I think that we have taken for granted everything that we had, and said, oh, what's going on? We need to fix a menu or restaurant. Let's take a flight and go to New York to have a look. I think that moving forward in the future, travel will have to be justified, because we have proven that we can be efficient, that we can still build, educate, innovate without moving. So I think even if tomorrow the world is back to normal, that technology benefits that we capitalize on during COVID will still be exploited.
Amazing, thanks, Jimmy. Nana, just got Nana and Varia to go. Nana, you've grown as an ambassador during this time. You've made a lot of sacrifices, as we all know, and given your time to help people and help keep the industry spirits high. How do you see the UAE recovering from your perspective?
I mean, things are on their way back to a degree, but I mean, I think we still have a long way to go in the region and on a global scale. I wish that there was a unified response, but it is what it is. But right now, I think BAs are partnering with a few outlets to do events that will drive traffic and create experiences. But so far, everyone's still respecting the social distancing rules with masks, gloves, protective gear, etc. But the fact that we have respected these rules has helped the city recover faster. So I think right now it's about driving footfall and doing our best to engage in the trade again and try and help grow business as much as we possibly can, respecting things. But on a positive note, all the bartender communities are coming together. The Dubai Bartenders Club has a sports club, sporting event, and things are on their way back. So I think that we're doing what we can with the conditions we've been given, but we still have a long way to go.
Thanks, Nana. I think to close this off, I think I have to come to Varia. Like I said earlier, things could have been so different. You know, if you'd have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. If anyone can explain kind of a recovery and building, I guess it's you and what you've experienced in the Middle East and in Beirut especially. Hospitality is part of the Lebanese culture, and we know that you have had to deal with in the region. It's something that people would never have to experience or never be able to understand. But kind of in your words, to kind of close off this seminar, what does recovery kind of look like for you, not just for Lebanon, but for your region as well?
So, Rebecca, I remember after what happened in Lebanon, when you called me and asked me if I still want to be part of today's session due to the explosion, I would cancel. But what happened is not in our control. But staying positive, helping each other, and hoping for a better tomorrow is within our control. And this is exactly why I wanted to continue, because we were raised to be survivors and to look forward. I believe 2020 taught us to value what is around us and to spend more time with our loved ones and to spend more time with our friends. We work in a dynamic industry where everything happens so quickly and changes so quickly. We also learned that everything can be done digitally now. I believe after COVID, a lot of our responsibilities will be conducted digitally. I have a higher attendance number when I conduct things online. For example, a lot of bartenders wake up late, go straight to work in my region. Digital trainings help us reach them better, as they do not have to wake up, get ready, spend time in traffic, reach the training on time, sometimes late, or sometimes not even attending. So the digital world helped us a lot. If we were in different circumstances and this thing happened, I think we will be even worse. Now we're better in this situation. Well, sadly, Lebanon now is going through more difficult time, because I can't say recovery now. I think recovery will take longer, because two of the main bar areas have been completely destroyed. But we will recover as we always do. And thank you.
Yeah, no, totally. And you know, we want to show our support in any way we can. I think you know, we not just as our community here in Dubai. I know we've done a lot for trying to support the region, but I think Jimmy as well has been doing a hell of a lot with his operations to try and support. And I think across Dubai and other areas of the world which are trying to support Beirut. So, you know, Beirut has a bit in my heart from when I first lived there, and I just pray that everything gets back up and running. As I know that the Lebanese people never let this get them down completely. So fingers crossed. All the best for the recovery and the next stage. I think we can close off this seminar by, I just want to say thank you to you guys for being on the panel with us today. We're here sat in the early hours of the morning in Zuma in Dubai with Varia back in Lebanon. And just want to say thank you to our sponsors, Suntory, who have sponsored our seminar for today. Thank you very much, and have a great day and stay safe.